Liam is an average office worker whose life is borderline pathetic. He works hard and late at his company that works him to his bones, but thankfully, he has a family to return to. Thanks to them, he manages to do his job where his boss constantly insults him, and even his subordinates mock him openly. One day, Liam's college junior weeb texts him about a mecha action figure and urges him to buy it. Liam has also been a weeb his entire life, so he goes to the shop location sent by his junior only to find his wife on a date with another man. He is dumbfounded by this because his wife was supposed to take their daughter to sword class. That night, when he returns, Liam asks his wife and daughter about their day, and they tell him that there was a tournament at the sword class today and the daughter won all her matches. Liam decides to believe them and ignore the fact that he clearly saw his wife earlier today, but he still can't shake the thought away. So he goes to the same spot the next day as well. This time not only his wife but his daughter is also there, and she calls the strange man her father. Liam is completely shaken by that and can't concentrate on his work. And then his boss comes there to insult him for no reason. Just then he gets a call from his wife about their daughter being in an accident, and he immediately rushes to the hospital. The doctor tells them that their daughter needs blood, but Liam's blood type is not compatible with her. As his wife leaves to donate blood, Liam does some research on blood types and finds that his daughter's blood type doesn't match the chart. He is now sure that he is not the father, and once they return home, he confronts his wife about it. However, instead of admitting that she cheated on him, it tells him that it is all his fault. She says that he works all the time and doesn't have any time for his family. On top of that, he doesn't even have any money despite working so much. That tells Liam that he is not even really a part of their family, and she was the only one who raised her daughter all these years. She then declares that she is going to leave the house with her daughter, and Liam snaps on hearing this. He tries to stop the daughter, but even she tells him that she likes her other dad better. Liam is completely devastated by this, and the next day, as he goes to office, his boss shows him that a transaction of 50 million yen has been made from his computer. Liam says that he never made such a transfer, but then he remembers that he left his computer unlocked in a hurry when his daughter was in a hospital. However, no one in the office believes him, and they accuse him of stealing money from the company. Because of that, he is fired and his wife gets a reason to file for divorce, but that still demands child support. His company doesn't sue him, but forces him to pay all the money back in installments, and Liam has to work as a construction worker to keep paying child support in the installment. However, that doesn't go very well for him either, and he is continuously scolded by his boss. His life becomes a mess, and he enters depression because he has nothing to live for. Even his enthusiasm for action figures and mecha toys fade, but he still believes that everything will work out if he keeps working hard. He misses his daughter even though he knows she is not really his child and hopes to meet her someday, but then he finds that he is seriously ill. With no insurance and no money to get treatment, Liam decides to die in the silence and solitude of his apartment. He keeps waiting for death, and then suddenly a dazzling light appears above him. The light shows him visions of what happened in the past, and Liam finds that it was his boss who sent the money from his computer to frame him. Not only that, the man his wife was having an affair with was his boss, and he sent the money to the so that she could afford an expensive lifestyle. Liam is completely broken on realizing what was happening behind his back all this time, and he wishes that all of this is a dream. But then a voice tells him that it is the reality. Suddenly, a stylish man who calls himself the guide emerges from the light and tells Liam that he has lived a really hard and pitiful life despite being a good man. He asks Liam if he can forgive the people who made him suffer like this, and Liam gets enraged, saying that he wants revenge against them. The guide rejoices on seeing his negative emotions, calling them delicious. He then tells Liam that he took an interest in him because he is a good man, but Liam replies that he doesn't give two about being good anymore. He regrets that he got taken advantage of because of his kind nature and swears that if he gets another chance at life, he will live only for himself. He promises that he will even become a villain who tramples on everyone else, and the guide tells him that he is just the thing for him. He takes out some pictures from a suitcase, telling Liam that he is here to send him to another world, and he can choose where he wants to go. The options include a world with magic and superpowers, the samurai-era Japan, the Wild West, and even the prehistoric times. Liam tries to process if this is real because things like this happen only in anime. However, when he spots a parallel world with giant robots and spaceships, he can't take his eyes off of it. He reaches his hand towards the option, thinking about all the fun discussions about anime he had with his junior. The guide tells him that he made a good choice because this world has both advanced technology and magic. The aristocratic system is still followed in this world, which means nobles are in power, and the guide tells Liam that he will be born as the son of a count who rules a planet. Liam likes the sound of that, and as he reaches the image of the giant robot, he signs a contract with the guide who sends him off to the next world wishing that he lives a better life in that one. He gets reincarnated as Liam Bamfield, the only son of a count ruling planet Hydra that is run over by plants. On his 5th birthday, Liam's mother tells him that she has a special present for him. She takes him to the room where a giant cake is kept and asks him to open the gift. Liam finds that it is empty, but there is a remote controller inside it, and his mom tells him that his gift is a custom-made AI maid. She tells him to pick the features he wants for the maid using the remote controller, and Liam gets taken aback by the options he has. He asks his mom why does he even need an AI-made robot, and just then his dad enters the room. He tells Liam that he is going to need the AI maid because he is getting another special birthday present. Liam's dad then suddenly declares that he is gifting him the title of Count Banfield and everything that their family owns. Liam is taken back back by this. But his dad repeats that from today, he is the head of the family and he can run the planet any way he likes. However, his dad has a request in exchange for this gift. He explains that he and his wife are going to retire and live on the Imperial capital planet, and in exchange for ruling this planet, Liam has to send them a monthly allowance. Liam is all in for this deal because it gives him freedom, and his dad calls their butler Brian with a contract. Liam signs the contract and becomes the head of the house, and his parents immediately run away to the capital, telling him that the AI maid will look after him from now on. Liam still has trouble processing that he got power, wealth, and influence at 5 years old in this life, and he swears that this time he will become a villain who will suppress other people and have fun on his own terms. He thanks the guide for this, unaware that the guide never planned to help him. Back on Earth, the guide is with Liam's dead body, mocking his pathetic life. He then decides to have some fun with Liam's cheating wife and his boss, who are having dinner at a fancy restaurant. While the boss tries to act like he feels bad for putting Liam through the misfortunes, that doesn't even bother to pretend. While they are planning for their future, the guide uses his powers and brings the police there. The police officers arrest the boss for stealing money from his company and framing Liam, and the breaks down on realizing that the life she planned to have is out of her reach. The guide takes great pleasure in their suffering, and then he returns to Liam's side to guide his soul in the next world. The truth is that he has arranged for Liam to suffer even more in his next life. The guide knows that when he realizes that he was set up, Liam will direct all his negative emotions towards him, and he will consume those emotions to become even stronger. Not only that, the lifespans in the next world are incredibly long, and the guide hopes that Liam suffers for a long time and keeps providing him nutrition. On the other hand, Liam soon gets his AI-made robot with the highest spec components and all the features selected by him. He is really excited for the unboxing, and butler Brian tells him that he just needs to touch the box to open it. As Liam touches the packaging box, it suddenly vanishes and the AI maid comes to life. She introduces herself as a muggy, and Liam introduces himself too. Brian tells him that the maid robot needs just 2 hours of maintenance each week, but Liam is not listening to him. The little pervert drags Amagi to the playroom with him to check out all her features in detail, and once they return, he is really comfortable around her. Brian freaks out, thinking that his new master is a pervert, but Liam tells him to relax because he has the mind of a 36-year-old adult. Brian tells him that 36-year-olds are still considered children, and Amagi adds that the official age of adulthood in the Empire is 50. However, most people are not considered proper adults till they reach 100, and the average life expectancy is also around 500 years. Liam gets excited thinking about all the things he can do in his long life, but then Brian warns him not to be too close to Amagi. Liam asks him the reason for that, and the butler explains that the Empire hates AI more than anything because humanity was almost wiped out by AI once. Luckily, a group of brave people stopped AI from completely driving humanity to extinction, and those people founded the Empire, and now they hate AI in any form. Liam is curious about why his mother would give him an AI maid if she knew about this, and Brian tries to keep it a secret from him. However, Liam pulls the I am the captain now speech on him and orders him to reveal the truth. Brian nervously tells Liam that his parents abandoned him and ran away because their family is drowning in debt. Liam is shocked to hear this, and Brian explains that his great-grandfather was a great man, but his successors were terrible at ruling the planet. The butler then explains that most of their resources are in the control of the loan sharks, and even the economy of their planet is not good. Liam doesn't understand why his parents would dump all the responsibility of their declining territory on him, and Brian tells him that the only reason they gave birth to him was so that they could dump their responsibilities on him. Liam is pissed because he went through one life of being used and then discarded, and it seems like the same thing is going to happen again. He decides that it will not happen as long as he can do something about it, and tells Amagi that both of them are outcast for this society, so they should team up. He asks the maid to join him because together they can seize the power to do anything they want, but she refuses and kneels before him. She tells Liam that her only purpose in this world is to serve him, and he doesn't need to ask her to team up with him. She promises to serve him in any way possible, and Liam decides to give her the 3 laws of robotics to protect humanity. However, he instantly changes his mind because he is no longer going to be the good guy. He decides to be as selfish as he can and revises the 3 laws so that they only apply to him. The first law states that Amagi cannot harm her master directly or indirectly. The second law asks her to obey all his commands, and the third law asks her to protect herself as long as she doesn't need to violate the first 2 laws. On Siege, he has engraved the 3 laws into her system. Liam asks her what he should do to make his territory better and prosperous. She suggests he use an education capsule that will put knowledge and experience directly in his brain and also strengthen his body. She tells him that he will have to be in the education capsule for a few months, and during that time she can take care of his territory on his behalf. Brian panics on hearing this and tells Liam that letting an AI maid handle the entire territory is dangerous for humanity. Liam tells him that it is not dangerous because he does not want to destroy humanity, and according to the second law, Amagi will follow his instructions perfectly. The flustered Brian tells Liam that the Empire will not accept this, but Amagi checks the Constitution and replies that there is no law preventing AI from helping with governance duties. With that, Liam orders Brian to get an education capsule ready and gives all the authority in his absence to Amagi. Once he gets inside the education capsule, Liam asks Amagi if she can feel emotions or even mimic them because she is quite advanced for an AI maid. Amagi replies that she doesn't know if she is capable of feeling or mimicking emotions. But when Liam asked her to team up with him earlier, she found her cache suddenly overflowing with data. Liam realizes that Amagi can really feel some sort of emotions, and he asks her to take care of everything while he speed runs through his school and college education. Liam gets out of the education capsule after exactly 2 years with decades of information and experience stored in his brain. He is surprised to learn that he was in there for 2 years, and Amagi tells him that it is natural because he had no sense of time inside the education capsule. Liam then notices that his body has also grown bigger and stronger in 2 years thanks to the capsule, and Amagi tells him that he will need some rehab to get used to this growth. Once Liam is done with the rehab, he takes charge of his planet and receives a report from Amagi. He finds that the condition of the planet has been improving slowly and decides to take a closer look at their main facilities. Amagi takes him to the spaceship launch pad first, and Liam starts drooling as he sees spaceships take off and dock in their floating dock, which serves as their line of defense. He gets even more excited as he sees the giant battle robot the soldiers operate, but Amagi tells him that most of them are not in use because they don't have the budget to repair them. Liam says that he also wants to be inside the giant battle robot, and Amagi is happy to arrange that for him. Liam gets inside one battle robot, and then Amagi tells him that the movement of the robot is controlled through magic. She asks him to simply imagine how he wants to move the robot, and it will do just that. Liam gives it a try and finds that getting the battle robot to move is not really hard. However, Amagi tells him that she removed all weapons from the robot suit to ensure his safety. Liam says that he really wants to fight someone in the robot, and Amagi arranges for that by summoning the captain of their troops. Liam charges directly at the captain's battle robot and knocks him down, but he quickly realizes that the captain is not being serious with him. He yells at him to fight earnestly, and the man obeys his command. Liam charges at him again, but this time the captain disarms his robot and then slams it to the ground. Liam is surprised by the difference between them, and Amagi tells him that since the captain has more experience and training, he can visualize moving his robot much better than a total noob. This makes Liam realize that he is too weak, and he decides to train to become stronger. He orders Brian to find him the best martial arts instructor around, and the butler tells him that he is a ruler, so he doesn't need to learn to fight. Liam shuts down his advice because he was suppressed by powerful people in his previous life, and this time he wants to be more powerful than anyone else. Soon after that, a samurai named Yasushi arrives outside the castle to become Liam's teacher. Liam instantly starts fanboying after seeing Masashi Mihawk and thinks that he is a great martial artist. He says that he is really excited to learn from one of the best martial artists in this world, and Yasu starts sprouting philosophical about how he strives to make his martial arts style the best in the whole empire. But it is a process that never ends. Liam is even more smitten by him now, and when Amagi tries warning him that the swordsman looks shady, he overlooks her warning, saying that being a little shady is the proof that he is a great swordsman. He is certain that Yasu is solely focused on becoming strong, so he seems detached from the world, but Amagi tells him to at least test him out. Liam agrees and asks Yasu to show his skills, so he takes him to a nearby place where some wooden logs are standing upright. Yasu says that he is going to show him the secret technique of his martial arts style, but he can show it to him only once, and he must memorize it in that chance. Liam asks Amagi to record everything, and then Yasu takes his stance. He only draws his sword halfway out of the sheath and then quickly puts it back, but the very next moment, the logs are sliced in half and fall to the ground. Liam is shocked to see this, and he asks Amagi to analyze the recording and tell him how Yasu did it. The recording shows that he didn't even draw his sword, and Liam is dumbfounded as he thinks that Yasu was so fast that even Amagi could not record his actions properly. He eagerly asks Yasu to be his teacher, and he gladly accepts. However, he returns to the site later at night, laughing at Liam because he fell for his trick that used logs that were already cut in half. Unaware that he is getting scammed, Liam keeps training under Yasu in sword and spear arts. He keeps getting better at the basics over the years, but never gets close to learning the secret skill that he thinks Yasu possesses. One evening, after training hard for 3 years, Liam tries cutting a log of wood with an aerial slash, but obviously nothing happens. He wonders how can he learn the secret technique because he needs a finishing move befitting his strength. That night, as Yasu is busy reading manga in his room, Liam knocks on the door. Liam asks him to teach him the secret technique, but Yasu tells him that he can no longer study under him. Liam is shocked, and the poser swordsman reminds him that on their first meeting, he clearly told him that he was going to show him the secret technique only once. Liam panics on hearing this and begs Yasu to forgive him, promising that he won't bother him about it again, and Yasu pretends to forgive him. Once Liam leaves, he starts eating chips and mocks the boy for believing that a technique like that really exists. Just then, Liam opens the door again, saying that he wants to add a little more money to his monthly fees to properly apologize for his actions earlier. Yasu has no reason to decline more money, and he starts dancing and emoting because this is the easiest job he ever had. But then Liam appears again, saying that he wants a day off from his training because he has some urgent business tomorrow. The next day, Liam receives a report about his planet's economy from Amagi. She tells him that they are still under heavy debts, but they are recovering gradually, and Liam is glad to hear that. He praises Amagi, but she says that she doesn't deserve his praise because she has not been able to meet her expectations. She shows him that the progress is very slow in some sectors like education and human resources, resource development despite investing a large amount. As soon as Liam sees the details, he realizes what is wrong and immediately summons the person in charge of the department. Soon, an ugly, sweaty idiot comes there and Liam immediately gets to business. He asks the man why has he been stealing funds from the government? Because there is some proof that he has been diverting money to his own pockets. The man takes Liam for a naive kid and tries telling him that there are many unpredictable problems in his line of work and they need money to be solved. Liam begins inspecting him even closely and he almost admires the man's corruption, thinking that he may get some tips from him. However, just then Amagi shows him a news article about a scandal caused because of corruption. The man tells Liam that it was not him but his subordinate who caused the scandal and he was executed for it. Amagi studies more news articles and reports and finds that there was not enough evidence that the subordinate was behind the corruption, and even after his execution the money was not recovered. Liam suddenly remembers how he was framed by his boss in his past life, and he is sure that this sweaty idiot did the same thing. He gets enraged and directly confronts the man, asking if he framed and killed his subordinate. The jerk tries pretending that he didn't do anything, but as Liam walks towards him with his sword drawn, he says that he just did whatever was necessary to keep the economy running smoothly. However, when that doesn't seem to calm Liam down, the man tries to intimidate him, saying that he is enjoying this luxury because people like him work hard to run the country. Liam doesn't let him complete his sentence and sends him to the afterlife with one swing of his sword. He tells her that only he gets to misuse his power and oppress his people. He yells that no one is allowed to touch his people and his money, and he will kill anyone who tries to take what belongs to him. Liam then orders Amagi to conduct a thorough investigation and execute every corrupt official, but she asks him to calm down first. Liam suddenly realizes that he just killed someone, but Amagi helps him let go of the sword. She then tells him that executing or firing every corrupt official will be really harmful for their planet because almost everyone is corrupt and she can't handle everything herself. She suggests Liam to buy around 30 more AI maids who are specialized in administration and related jobs, and it doesn't matter even if they're not high-spec models. Liam tells her to do that and execute the corrupt officers as well, but Amagi is concerned that it may negatively affect his image. Liam tells her that he doesn't care about his image because he doesn't need anyone who doesn't obey him. Soon after that, Liam decides to test his 3 years of training by sparring against the captain again. However, before he can get inside a battle robot, Yasu arrives there and tells him that it will be pointless to get into an easy-to-control mass-reduced robot. He says that if Liam wants to reach the top, he must take the hard way and try to pilot a robot that not everyone can control. Liam thinks that Yasu makes sense, and he turns to the captain, who tells him that if he likes, he can use the personal battle robot of his great-grandfather that is 3 generations old. As it turns out, Yasu is trying to make Liam bring out his great-grandfather's mechanite on purpose. Earlier today, he was rummaging through the storehouse to steal something valuable because Liam was learning too quickly, and soon he won't have anything left to teach him, and that would be the end of his best job. He didn't find any valuables in the storehouse until he stumbled on an old mecha unit that looked like it wouldn't work, even after being repaired, but he felt that he could sell its parts for a huge amount. Liam falls for his trick and orders Brian to repair the old mechanite. Brian tells him that the unit is too old and unfit to be used, and he should use a mass-reduced unit to learn the basics, but Liam refuses, saying that his teacher has told him that the truly skilled fighters can pilot even the most difficult mechas. Brian doesn't have any reply to that, so he simply suggests Liam to at least stop wasting his time training because he is already too good. Liam refuses this suggestion too, saying that he is training to use the ultimate move Yasu showed him. In the meantime, Amagi goes to check the old mecha on Liam's order. She doesn't trust Yasu at all, but she can't refuse her master's orders, and she wishes that the old mecha keeps him safe. A few days later, an engineer named Nia arrives on the planet to repair the mecha. She introduces herself as an engineer from the 7th Imperial Weapon Factory, and Liam introduces himself in response. Nia suddenly starts staring at Amagi, and Liam gets defensive, asking if she has any problem with his maid. However, Nia is actually interested in Amagi because she has never seen such an expensive custom-made AI robot. She tries examining her in detail, but Liam stops her and tells her to just do the job she is here for. He then takes her to the old mecha, and Nia immediately tells him to forget about it and buy something new. Liam is adamant about repairing the old unit, and Mia tells him that they have stopped manufacturing this model long ago, so the spare parts will be rare and expensive. Liam tells her to replace the parts she can't find with modern ones, but he wants her to keep the controls manual. He tells her that he doesn't care how much it costs, and Nia is glad to hear that. Liam also tells her that he wants a finishing move like a rocket punch. And just then, Yasu comes there to see what's going on. He falls in love at first sight with Niaz and tries approaching her while looking cool, but she is too busy quarreling with Liam about the reasons she can't install a rocket arm on the robot. In the end, Liam convinces her with the power of money, but Yasu gets jealous because Nia didn't pay him any attention. He decides to take it out on Liam by putting him through an impossible training. He has to defend against tennis balls blindfolded while balancing himself on a log in the middle of a lake, and his sword has also been made excessively heavy. Liam tells Yasu that it is not possible, but he is doing it just to get revenge. So, he tells Liam to stop relying on his senses and use his instincts instead. Yasu tells him to stop thinking and start feeling, and Liam takes him seriously as always. A few days later, Nia finishes repairing and customizing the mecha unit, and Brian gets nostalgic, remembering the glory days of the band minefield family. Nia then shows Liam how to use the mecha and takes him inside for a demo. The control room has been made bigger using spatial magic, and once Liam sits on a seat, the mecha scans him and assigns him as its master. Nia tells him that now the unit will only recognize him as its pilot. With that, Liam tries to take a step forward in the mecha, but it ends up falling on the ground because it doesn't have any features to assist him in moving. Mia tells him that this will make it much harder to control the mecha, but if Liam can master it, he can move it exactly like his body. Liam decides to try again, and this time he successfully gets up and walks outside the storeroom. Nia is impressed by his skills and tells him that if he can control the mecha so well right off the bat, he must be a real genius. She tells him to keep imagining how he wants to move the mecha, but then her marshmallows touch Liam's arm and his incel mind is taken over by his gooner instincts. He starts imagining dirty things, and the mecha acts them out. Yasu panics on seeing this as he thinks that Liam is doing perverted things to Nia's inside the mecha, and Brian is glad because this is the first time Liam has shown interest in a human woman. Inside the mecha, Nia also freaks out and thinks that Liam is a pervert, and later Yasu makes his insane training even more intense as his revenge. The next day, Liam trains to learn the secret skill again, but as usual, he doesn't make any progress. He asks Amagi if he has no talent for swordsmanship, and she replies that as an AI mage, she cannot grasp the concept of talent. However, she thinks that the problem is not with Liam but with Yasu. She says that the problem is his credibility, and instead of realizing that he is being scammed, Liam thinks that Amagi is telling him that he has not trusted Yasu enough. Amagi tells him that she meant something else, but Liam has already realized what he is lacking. He says that Yasu cutting the logs that were out of his sword's range is physically impossible, but this world also has magic. He believes that magic is the only explanation of how he can use his ultimate move. Liam says that if he focuses his magic on his sword and imagines himself swinging it out as a flying slash, he might be able to use the ultimate move as well. He immediately starts practicing with this principle in mind, and years pass with him trying to send a magical slash towards his target, and one day he succeeds in breaking through his limits. The next day, Liam invites Yasu to see his progress. He then uses his special technique to send a magic slash and cuts a wooden log in half, and Yasu's mind is blown. He wonders how could Liam have learned the technique when it was fake from the beginning. Liam asks him if he has passed, and Yasu has no answer because he has managed to do the impossible. He stays silent, wondering what to say, and Liam thinks that he is upset because he grew content just after learning to cut things at a distance. Well, Yasu says just that, telling him not to get complacent even though he has achieved a great feat, and tells him to keep working hard to become stronger. A few days later, Liam receives news that pirates have attacked one of the planets under his domain. Amagi tells him that the planet was unfit for living or mining, but she succeeded in establishing a factory there, and now the pirates are trying to plunder it. Brian informs Liam that their soldiers are fighting against the pirates, but they won't last too long. Liam immediately turns to Amagi for a strategy. Brian tells him that it is too dangerous, but Liam doesn't listen to him and gets inside his mechanite. Amagi launches him towards the planet, and Liam uses the clouds to hide and launch sneak attacks on the pirates. The pirates panic as Liam's mecha begins hunting them down, and some of them attack him from behind. But thanks to Yasu's insane training, Liam has developed observation haki, and he easily takes the pirates down. He uses his observation haki to detect enemies hiding behind the clouds and uses another weapon to shoot them down. The pirates grow even more concerned and decide to retreat, but then Liam uses his flying slash, cutting through dozens of their mechas at once. The pirates lose their mind because they have never heard of a weapon that cut at this distance, and they immediately retreat. Liam decides to give them a taste of his special rocket punch, but nothing happens when he gives the command. He wonders if Nia didn't install the feature in his mecha when suddenly a magic circle appears next to him and a giant rocket arm flies out from it, hitting the escaping pirates and causing a huge explosion. Liam is angry because this is not what he wanted, but Nia tells him that this was the only way to make rocket punch a functional attack. Just then, Amagi contacts Liam, telling him that she could only capture 10% of the pirate ships. 30% of them were destroyed and the remaining 60% escaped. Liam counts that as a win and tells Amagi that she did a great job. Soon, the news of his troops being defeated reaches Pirate Captain Goes in his laboratory, and he grows furious on hearing this. His assistant tells him that the pirates underestimated the enemy and tasted defeat, and they retreated to cut their losses. The pirate captain calls the retreating pirates wimps and declares that he will not tolerate losers in his crew. He orders his assistant to get the entire fleet ready because they will destroy the ones who ran back home, to send a message to everyone that Captain Go doesn't take failure kindly. He gets ready to lead the fleet himself and tells his latest test subject to wait a little longer because he will have fun with her later. Back on Liam's side, he docks with the space station outside his planet. Satisfied with his victory over the pirates, Amagi congratulates him on winning his first ever battle. And Liam says that what is even better than the victory is the fact that they got some loot. Amagi tells him that according to the laws of the Empire, if they capture a pirate ship, the ship as well as the cargo inside it belongs to them. Liam gets thrilled on hearing this because he thinks that the pirate ships will be loaded with gold and silver. But surprisingly, they have something even more valuable. As the soldiers take out huge crates of rare minerals like adamantite and mithril from the pirate ships, Amagi tells Liam that they are really valuable. He is not satisfied with that because he wanted gold and diamonds. But Amagi tells him that gold doesn't have any value because it is mostly a useless element and diamond is just carbon, so they can make it at home. Liam realizes realizes that the precious metals and stones of Earth have no value in this world. But the gold digger inside him still wants the shiny yellow metal. He demands gold, and Brian tells him that they have some gold that they use to make electronic items. Liam tells him to turn the gold into coins and fill his room with them. And as for myethil and other rare elements, he wants them to be turned into legendary weapons. Brian apologizes as he informs Liam that they don't have any blacksmith skilled enough in their domain to do that. Liam is disappointed, but then Amagi tells him that she discovered something when they were fighting the pirates. She explains that currently the Banfield family owns about 10,000 battleships, but only 30% of them are operational and they can only deploy around 2,000 on emergency notice. Liam is surprised that they won against the pirates with just that, and Amagi says that the pirates underestimated them, and then Liam's skills in the battlefield push them into a corner quickly. Liam is glad to hear that, but the fact that 70% of his fleet is useless worries him, and Amagi suggests that they sell the scrap they don't use. Brian immediately objects, saying that if they reduce the number of ships in their fleet, the pirates will see them as easy targets and attack them again. Amagi replies that it costs money to do even basic maintenance on the unused ships, and they don't have too much of it. Liam agrees with her because he doesn't want to waste any money and says that they should either sell or repurpose the useless ships. Amagi then suggests that they can buy more ships with the money they will get from selling the materials from the pirate ships. She says that they won't be able to get the latest model, but they can buy enough second-hand ships to build their fleet. Brian again disagrees with her, saying that if they use second-hand ships, their family's pride will be harmed. Unfortunately for him, Liam doesn't give a flying about the family's pride and honor. He just wants to win, and that is why he orders Amagi to immediately buy some good second-hand battleships. Meanwhile, far away from Liam's territory, MIA's is giving a presentation to the elite nobles from the Empire's army about the latest warship that the 7th Weapons Factory has developed. She tells them about how the latest ship is more powerful than the previous ones and how it is more fuel efficient and easy to maintain. After she is done with her presentation, her rival from the 3rd Weapons Factory introduces her ship, starting by revealing that it was designed by an award-winning architect. She shows off the luxurious interior of the ship that is made by the top fashion company and the rare and expensive materials used in furnishing the ship. She tells the guests that with their ship, they will look elegant no matter how hard the battle becomes. Her sales pitch works, and all the wannabes of the Imperial Army decide to buy the 3rd factory ship as their main battleship. Mia is dumbfounded by this because her ship is better, and she asks why would someone choose a luxury cruise instead of a battleship. The woman from the 3rd factory replies that their ship also has weapons made by experts, so they are strong too. But being strong is not enough, and they have to be beautiful to attract customers. Nothing Mia says makes any difference, and as she walks out of the building with her rival, she tells her that if their ships get into actual combat, the 7th factory will buy a huge margin. The blonde laughs at her, saying that their ship will never face each other because no one will buy the plain and boring ships that Nia's made. Nia gets frustrated on hearing this and gets ready to throw hands, but unfortunately, both of them are in their home and talking through a projector. Nia gets disappointed because she will be scolded by her boss now, and she wonders if there is any noble who will buy their battleships. Suddenly, she remembers Liam, who chose to ride a manual battle armor, and she feels that the sucker will definitely buy her battleships as well. Meanwhile, the guide, the sick weirdo who gets off on other people's negative emotions, is busy messing with ordinary people on Earth. He enjoys their negative emotions, but they are just appetizers, and he is really waiting for Liam's negative emotions, believing that he might be in a lot of debt already. He decides to get his first dose of the negative emotions and enters the fantasy world, but he is shocked to see that Liam has changed his city. It is no longer overgrown with plants, and construction work is progressing smoothly. The guide can't believe this because the city should be even worse now. He then thinks that at least Liam should be pretty disappointed about his swordsmanship because he personally sent the scammer named Yasu in his direction. He goes to check up on the useless swordsman and finds him drunk in a bar, bitching about how his student became a first-class swordsman even though he is not even a third-rate swordsman himself. He complains that he kept following the stupid training methods and somehow managed to copy a magic trick and make it a real attack. The guide is confused by this and checks on Liam directly, only to find that now he can copy the exact move that Yasu showed him on their first meeting. However, Liam is not satisfied with this because he thinks that Yasu lowered his level to show it to him, and if he used his full power, he could cut a target from as far as a mile. He decides to keep training harder, and while swinging his sword, he thinks about how his life started off terribly when his parents abandoned him, but he was able to make the right choices because good people came into his life. He thanks the guide for sending him here, and these positive emotions make the weirdo fall to his knees because he feels pain when exposed to positivity. He immediately consumes Yasu's negative emotions to replenish his health and wonders how can Liam be so happy. He is sure that he didn't make a mistake in sending him here, and the happiness Liam is facing right now will make him cry even harder when he eventually finds his life getting ruined. A few days later, Amagi tells Liam that the Imperial Army is replacing their warships with the latest models, and they have agreed to sell the battleships they were using till now. Liam likes the deal, but then Amagi tells him that the Imperial Army has put a condition that they will have to accept some reserve officers and soldiers that are going to be retired soon. Liam thinks that the Imperial Army is handing over the unwanted people to them, but Amagi says that it is a good idea because even if the soldiers are second-rate, they have more experience than the best of their soldiers, and adding them to the army will benefit the Banfield estate. Liam decides to go ahead with the deal after hearing this, boss, and the guy decides to send a bunch of very sincere and just soldiers to him who won't tolerate an evil lord and rebel against him. On the other hand, Yasu is hung over from his trip to the bar, but when he hears Nia calling him from outside his room, he immediately sobers up. He invites her in, and Nia starts praising him, saying that he trained Liam to become a master swordsman at such a young age. Yasu thinks she is hitting on him, but Nia just wants info on Liam so that she can do business with him. This misunderstanding remains strong throughout their conversation, and Yasu thinks that Nia wants to know about his hobbies and preferences when she wants to know what kind of complimentary offer she can give Liam to get him to buy their battleships. He tries to act like a Chad, but when Nia keeps begging, he reveals his fetish for office ladies. Well, Nia thinks that this is what Liam likes, so when she goes to meet him the next time, she dresses exactly like Yasu told her. She begins acting like a tick-tock thought as she asks him to buy her ships, but Liam immediately refuses, saying that he just bought a whole squadron of second-hand ships and soldiers. On learning that he brought the ships from the Imperial Army, Nia curses the third weapon factory for getting in her way here, too, but she refuses to leave without giving Liam a demo. She tells him about her factory ships that are designed for peak performance, and he tells her to sell them to the Imperial Army if they are so good. Nia cries that she couldn't win them over with her presentation. She begs Liam to buy even 100 of her ships and says that if he doesn't have money, he can take a loan and repay it later. Liam doesn't want to hear about loans, so Nia decides to embrace her inner hoe and begins seducing it. He tells her to stop because it reminds him of the time his wife used to wear some flashy underwear, but not for him. Nia doesn't stop and keeps going further, and Liam decides to agree to her request to get her to stop. He decides to buy 300 battleships from her because Amaji tells him that they will be useful in the future, and Nia gladly runs to get them ready for him. Outside, she contacts her teammate and tells him how she seduced a noble to sell 300 ships, and both Brian and Yasu hear it. While Brian is worried that Liam fell for a honey trap, Yasu is furious, thinking that Liam made a move on Nia, even though she is clearly into his teacher. Soon after that, Nia delivers the 300 advanced battleships that Liam ordered, and at the same time, the second-hand battleships they bought from the Imperial Army also arrive. Meanwhile, Yasu is still sulking over Nia's trying to honey trap Liam because he feels that it is Liam's fault. He thinks that Liam offered her money to act like that for him, and he can't forgive him for that. Well, someone is happy to see his negative emotions, and that is the guide. He wants Yasu to be more angry at Liam and then hurt him in a manner that will cause Liam to feel intense negative emotions as well. Unaware about his teacher's desire to get revenge on him, Liam goes to inspect the latest battleships of the 7th Weapon Factory, and Nia is present there to give him a tour. Liam says that even though it is not exactly luxurious, a new model is a good thing. Nia tells him that luxuries are useless, but Liam replies that he needs them anyway. Mia pretends that she didn't hear that and begins telling him about the battleship nicknamed Ash Viper. She starts acting like a car salesman and tells Liam to operate the ship at less than 25% power for the first 3,000 space km and change the neutrino oil every 5,000 space kilometer. She also tells him that he will get loyalty points that will give him benefits if he only contacts their factory to repair the ships. And Liam asks if she is selling him a battleship or a car. Myas pretends not to hear that too and asks him to sign the receipt. After that, MIAs begins acting like a hoe again and requests Liam to give her the pirate ships he captured recently. He refuses, saying that he plans to add them to his fleet as well, but she keeps begging. Suddenly, Amaji comes up with an idea and tells Liam that they can give some of the ships to Nia and ask her to modify the rest because most of the ships are in a terrible condition and they may stop working anytime. Mia says that she will gladly accept those conditions because pirate ships use unknown technology from outside the Empire and all researchers are eager to study them. Liam also likes the idea and he immediately takes Amaji and Nia to check the pirate ships. They find that its interior is quite different from their ships and Nia finds a lot of new buttons on its control panel. Liam notices a steering wheel and the one-piece weeb inside him awakens on seeing this. He tells Nia that he wants to put this steering wheel on his battleship and she warns him that it will be useless because it makes controlling the ship harder. Liam tries acting like a Chad by saying that sometimes a man wants what his heart says even though it is useless. She just sighs and agrees to do it, but then she notices a very unusual device in the pirate ship and begins geeking over it. Liam gets bored by her yapping when he spots a glowing creature disappearing around the corner. He runs after it, telling Amaji that he thought he saw a dog. Suddenly, he sees the same glowing dog disappearing into the corner in front of him again, and he decides to follow it. The trail leads him and Amaji to a strange room, and she plugs herself into the console to find that it is the navigation room. She activates the navigation devices, and the floor turns into a map of all the places that the ship has been. They find that the pirates have been raiding ships throughout the Empire, but then Amaji notices something even more worrisome. She says that once the pirate ship finishes its raids, it always teleports back to a warp gate at the boundary of the Empire. From there, it uses a short warp to go outside of the Empire's territory. Liam is intrigued, and he asks her if the pirate ship goes to another empire, but she tells him that it goes to the battlefield at the border of the empires. She explains that it has been a place for different nations and nobles to fight, and Liam realizes that the pirates are using it because no one bothers to capture them in a lawless zone. He then asks Amaji about their destination when they use the short warp, and she says that it is not a fixed point, but she senses a pattern. She starts decoding the pattern, and within a few seconds she finds that their destination for the short warp is a rogue planet with an unusual orbit that moves very quickly quickly in a region full of small black holes. She says that the gravity of the black holes make the orbit really unpredictable, and the only way pirates can teleport to it is because they know about it in advance. Liam is really curious now, and he says that this rogue planet is the perfect place to hide something. Amagi agrees, saying that this must be the hidden base of the pirates, but Liam disagrees with her. He says that this is definitely a treasure island because pirates always stop by treasure islands after completing their raids. He tells Amagi to get his fleet ready at once because they are going on a treasure hunt. On the other hand, pirate captain Goes has captured his underlings who ran away after losing the fight with Liam. Go is furious that his men lost to a poor and weak noble, and he declares that he will restore his honor by crushing Liam himself. But before that, he destroys the ships of the cowards who ran back. And then he orders his men to warp to the Pomona Gate at the border of the Empire. At the same time, Liam and his troops also finish their short-range warp and reach their nearest warp gate, which will lead them to the Pomona Gate. However, they can't use it because the authorities that maintain the warp gate don't allow them to use it. The supervisor contacts Liam, telling him that he needs to pay a toll to use the warp gates based on the weight of his vehicles and the distance covered. He clearly tells Liam that the toll for teleporting 7,000 warships to the border of the Empire is quite high, and he needs advanced payment because he doesn't trust the Banfield family's ability to pay the toll later. Liam promises that he will pay the amount in full once he returns, but the supervisor tells him that there is no guarantee that he will return because if he gets caught by pirates, it will be over for him. Liam refuses to return because it cost him a lot of money to bring his troops here, and he is not going to waste his time and resources by turning around to bring his wallet. He then turns into a Karen and says that he wants to talk to the manager. The supervisor tells him that he is the highest ranking person here, and Liam decides to talk to him face to face. Amagi thinks that it won't change anything because they are not even close to a deal right now. Meanwhile, Go and his pirate ships reach the Pomona Gate, and the authorities on their side are already in his pocket. He pays them the usual amount and gets them to link the warp gate to the location where Liam's troops are waiting, but he doesn't know about that yet. At the same time, Liam is in the office of the warp gate authority, and he tells the supervisor to open the gate for him because he will definitely pay him back once he returns. However, the supervisor stands on business and refuses all his attempts to convince him. Just then, he gets a call about the pirates coming through, and he tells Liam to go home because he has other things to do. Liam is disappointed about that, but then he again feels the glowing dog running behind him, and he decides to see what the hell is going on. Meanwhile, the pirates enter the warp gate, and a wormhole connects them to the gate on the other side. As they travel through the gate, Go tells his men that they will destroy the Banfield family and plunder everything they have. On the other hand, the supervisor on Liam's side tells his underling not to worry about who is coming from the other side of the warp gate because it is none of their business. His subordinate, however, knows that it is a pirate crew, and he is worried about Liam's fleet that is stationed in the waiting zone right now. The supervisor tells him to stop worrying because it is only natural for pirates to target a weak noble family, and they shouldn't stick their nose where it doesn't belong because they receive a lot of money from the pirates. He then tells everyone in the control room that they will take a 30-minute break now so that they don't see or hear anything, and 30 minutes is exactly how long it will take the pirates to cross the gate. Well, just as everyone leaves the control room, Liam arrives there chasing the glowing dog.